Hello, good afternoon. I'm here to open my first video. Some of the things I like to discuss are more life matters, but one thing that's been pressing in my mind is particularly what's happening in South Africa, with this story to do with the land expropriation. And I've been listening to parties, both white, black and whatever, even the Chinese argument, which is the most dangerous of all, actually, to be honest with you, because they're the sleeping giant, they're like the poison pill that people are swallowing, that are not understanding the ramifications to the inwards of Chinese investment in. Because all what they're slowly doing is, most people don't even know they've actually built an entire city in South Africa, ready just to move in. They're bringing in their own police forces, they're going to be taken over eventually, because the political climate and the spirit of South Africans are mostly communist, particularly the ANC, and we thought they were sort of pro-business westernised, but they're not. And this sad mentality, they're blaming the white man for every failure in society. It's true, to be really honest. I can tell you, I went there in 1998 in South Africa, and I made a startling discovery that the society played homage to the white man. I can tell you many stories of it being in Mitchell's Plain, which was where my wife lived, or wife that I married. And I'm driving at the moment, so I'm not really concentrating on what I'm saying as well. But I got served in a pizza place before everybody else, just for one reason, because my pigmentation is different. Now, in Britain, where I'm from, Scotland, you're just the same as everybody else. You wait behind a black man, an Asian man, a Chinese man, a purple man if he's purple. It didn't make any difference to us. We are all equal, right? Some more equals than others on the basis of intellect. Meaning some people are as stupid as they come, and they've been given all the trappings of society. So that's why people over here who are smart and educated get angry with the idiots that say they took our jobs, these blacks and these Chinese and Pakistanis. No, you were just too lazy to get off your backside and get a job. That's the truth of it. And that's why Africans excel, because most of them that come here, well, I've met a lot that are just lazy, but the majority are educated people who bring to the society greater things. Now, I'm not advocating immigration. I'm not saying it's a great thing to come here, but I'm saying that on an equal basis, the reason why South Africans have failed is because of the lack of opportunity in terms of educational standing. Now, I was in buses and taxis over there. Now, the reason I'm telling you about this is because when I was over there was one day I was in a taxi. That means one of these minibuses for us over there. The taxis means where it's loaded with loads of people. Some of these people stunk of urine. There was a white guy travelling in a taxi. It wasn't a very safe thing to do, but I done it anyway. It was an experience, and I don't mind. To me, I was actually quite happy to be in another culture. It was amazing. It was a wonderful feeling. But when they see your white skin, they don't think, hey, nice white guy, Scottish, whatever. They don't think that. They see rich. They see entitlement. This is garbage, because everybody over here works, and basically we all work for what we've got. We built our society, and some people say on the backs of slavery. That is not entirely true, and it's not entirely wrong either. But anyway, digressing. There was on the taxi, there was one time there was this guy that couldn't even count, right? He couldn't count, couldn't read, couldn't do nothing, hardly. He was struggling to count the money, and it was causing a big ruckus in the taxi. Now, this is the reason why I'm describing this situation, is because this is symptomatic of the society it is in South Africa currently. Now, this is in 1998. Now, this guy couldn't count, couldn't read properly, and I took pity on him, because I, myself, at one point, couldn't read and couldn't write. I left school at 16, and I could hardly spell my own name, and that is not a lie. I'm telling no lies here. So, and I can even produce my qualifications that I got from school, and they were all fails. But I went to college eventually, and I made something in my mind, and done other things with my life. So, what I'm saying is I'm now driving a car, so it means that you should have some sort of intelligence. You can't just buy a license like you do in South Africa. So anyway, this young man couldn't even, was a coloured, living in a shack, couldn't even do these basic things that we are given in society over here. Now there's a lot of white people in Scotland in particular who you'll find a lot of them in the streets. If you ask them, can you read and write, they'll tell you no. You'll ask a lot of people that are in the dole that are leaving school nowadays, can you read and write, and they'll tell you no, they can't read and write. So to say that this status of society is applicable only to black people is wrong. Well, anyway, I made an offer to this young coloured man, which coloured, you know, mean by definition is a South African group, that's meaning they're of Khoisan people, or they're mixed race, meaning mixed European and African descent. So that's what they are, and they're called themselves the coloured. It can also be Chinese mixed race, Indian mixed race, even Arab mixed race. It can be a melting pot of anything. But the colours see themselves as a separate group or ethnic diversity from the white people, or blacks, or Africans as people would call them. Now to us they would just be black, right? So this is just the stupid nonsense that's in their minds, because if you come across here and you ask them, are you black, they'll be saying, yes, you're black. So for us, you're black, right? So anyway, this young guy couldn't even do this, and we were on the taxi, and I offered to pay for his time and pay for his books. I offered to teach him to read and write, because I knew how debilitating it was not to be able to read and write. It's like being in a mental prison. You can't escape, and it's also economic imprisonment. And he couldn't read and write. Now this is the kind of mentality you're possessed. The average person in South Africa is illiterate. In fact, literacy amongst the black community is actually much higher than it is nowadays in some parts of the coloured community. Now, when I've met homeless people when I was there, and all sorts of types of people, he didn't want to, because he didn't want to give work. He thought there was something weird. I'm offering to pay for his books, I'm offering to pay for his wages, I'm offering to pay for his time, and out of my own time I'm not taking any money for it, and you turned it down. Because they used to have this saying, and I hated it, I still hate it to be honest, it's you can take I would quote the words exact, you can take a kaffir out the bush, but you can't take the bush out the kaffir. Meaning you can take a man to the jungle, but you can't take the jungle out the man. And this is exactly what we're doing in society over there. Now I hated that saying. These are all the things that I heard when I was over there, so I'm really repeating it. This is what they call racism. Not that I believe in racism, we'll cover that another day, because racism doesn't really exist. It's a made construct, because there is no such thing as race. There's only one race, the human race. Anyway, so I was there in South Africa and I offered that opportunity. Now you've got other groups now politically. Now we're going to get on to the political standing here, called the BLF. I think it stands for Black Land First. Anyway, and then you've got there's a EFF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, run by a guy called Julius Malema. Now, I've listened to all of these people. I consider Julius Malema more educated than the guy that runs the BLF. The BLF guy is like a mirror organisation of the Black Lives Matter movement in America. They've got practically the same ideology, the same policies, and the same stupidity. They want black people to be put in the white people's houses. I've got spare. The same garbage is being spouted in America. This, we are black people and we are victims. Now, believe it or not, they don't even realise this, but in Scotland and in the United Kingdom, they had a similar policy, the government. They had something called, they coined it the bedroom tax, but the government phrased it as the spare subsidy tax, spare room subsidy tax. So, basically, if you were in a bedroom or a house that had more than one bedroom, they cut your benefits so you couldn't get houses, and you were forced to downsize your house, or you would get your benefits cut, or you paid what you were entitled to in your benefits system if you were unemployed, and it made the poor poorer. It's the same nonsense. It's basically a government trying to make way for failed policies and not investment, and this is exactly the same story as it's in South Africa. They're doing this nonsense because the ANC is not adequately built houses. It made grandiose promises and unable to fulfill, because it's easy to spend other people's money. But what happens is the ANC government is, for I've hearing, but is not doing that because there's a lot of corruption. And even Julius Malema apparently was involved in a banking fraud and all this stuff, allegedly. I don't know because I can't confirm. I'm just going by what I hear, so it's allegedly. And so that being said, he bought 3 farms apparently. So I mean, you can smell rats. It's just the same mentality across Africa. Once black people get in power, they rob their own brothers and sisters instead of helping them up. Now, some of that blame can also be placed right at the white guy's door, because he kept them uneducated, and unbeknown to him, keeping them uneducated is also a good way to keep them controlled, but it's also a ticking time bomb, because when people are uneducated, they can't make clear decisions. They're not able to read, they're not able to make proper discernment, and with the result of it, even if you are educated, you can still be an educated fool. And this is what happened in South Africa. The people are getting educated now. Most of the blacks that are up and coming now are actually millionaires and self-made people, and they're entrepreneurs, and they've done great things with themselves now that South Africa's apartheid system's in, and I'm really pleased. I tell you what, the standard of living that I've seen, and I don't care what any white person tells me, right? I seen it with my own eyes. Maybe I didn't see all of it. They said it was better under apartheid. Well, for them it was, but when I was in South Africa, I seen public toilets. I opened up this thing that said public toilet, and opened up, I swear not, I swear, I kid you not, I opened up this door, and there was this big hole in the ground with a rusty nail stuck into the wall, and this is in Cape Town, and it looked like a modern toilet, I swear. And you opened up, there was a big hole in the ground. Either somebody stole the toilet or something, which is probably more than likely in South Africa. And basically, there was a big ditch, like you do, like some toilets in France apparently. You bend down and you squat and do a dump right in a small ditch in the ground. Well, that was exactly the same. And you walked about the streets, and public toilets were rare. And you had people come up and calling you boss man and asking you for money just because you were white. They thought you were rich. And I remember that even the South African people were very angry that the black people had been given power. And I can get where they're coming from now, where the countries came and where it's went. The squatter camps have grown, and wealth has grown amongst the black people, but I've seen white people begging in the streets. Now that's something you would never have seen after apartheid. I seen a white person behave just like a black person, and this was in Durban when I was there in 2017. 2017 I was there, and I was amazed. I was shocked. He had the same look in his eye, the same spirit, the same everything, just like a black person, begging. And I was in a car with a very dear person to me. She's Zulu. Her name is Namtha, right? If I get that pronounced correctly. And she came out with this crap. And I didn't say it to face her. I don't want to cause an argument, because I want to be at peace, and if she ever watches this, she'll hear it. She said, that's white privilege. I went, yeah, it's great. White privilege, living in a shack. That's white privilege. She said it's because the white person will get more, like, alms or giving, donations because he's in poverty than a black person. So even in your poorness, you're still suffering for white privilege. White privilege is a made-up concept in my book now, because the more I've observed about it, it's all about pity. If a black person, and I know many of them that have lived in shacks, and coloureds as well, have lived in shacks and went out and worked their asses off, and I know one person who's actually, I've got children with the father-in-law, he's now a multi-millionaire, and he lived in a shack. And you know probably the defining mentality of these people, they went out and worked. They didn't wait for handouts or any of that nonsense. They went out and made something of themselves. That is the defining difference. Now, this same person that was in the car with is amazing, intellectually, okay? Now what I found there's another person I know in South Africa. This is a coloured person, and she's gorgeous, she's beautiful. She's been given, her parents, the same people who grew up in shack, right, and built themselves into all this wealth. Their daughter is so lazy she can't even get a job. She won't even go and look for a job properly because mummy and daddy pays for everything. And every black guy thinks she's so wonderful and beautiful, and they're all trying to soak up her because they see the money, but she's not worth 2 cents. I mean, she's on a literacy level, she's intellectually got no abilities. Abilities, sorry. So I'm getting distracted because I'm driving. Oh my god, I went in the wrong junction. Anyway, so the reason why I'm talking about this is because I'm trying to explain what's wrong with South African society. It's the blame game. Everybody's getting blamed for somebody else's trouble instead of taking responsibility. That is the problem. And this expropriation of land without compensation, it's like Pakistan and India having nuclear weapons. Oh my god, these people are utter savages. I mean, you giving weapons of mass destruction to idiots like that in these countries? Seriously. But it's the same thing here. They think the land's going to make them rich. No! What's going to happen is you're doing away with the very property rights of the very basis of any society. Now, you sound like a white guy telling us that we want our land. It was stolen by that evil, treacherous white man. I actually looked into some of the cases. You know, a lot of the land was actually uninhabited and unusable, but white people came in with technology about irrigation and pumps and how to transfer water and how to bring that land back into use. And that's what happened. And there is some cases where the land was clearly, obviously stolen and used by military force. But that could be said of Shaka Zulu. That's what he did. He set up an armed units of different tribes, and well, it wasn't tribes, it was different families, and became known as the Zulu Nation. He went out and conquered people, the same with the Xhosas. They were called angry people. With the Khoisan language, it means angry. The Xhosa means angry people. So they were invaders. So who's the first one? The Khoisan. So if they want to talk about basically the land theft, there is no such thing. Land is inhabited by people. It's what they call the unfair use of the land we're really looking at. It's not about land theft or hereditary rights. The land should not be given to just someone because my tribe lived on this land 2 years ago or centuries ago and we're entitled to this land. No. What should have been done if they were sound thinking people is they should have done this. They should have set up economic colleges to do with like economics, agriculture, business and investment for these particular areas to do with agriculture, and mechanical engineering in this area to do with repair of farm equipment, developing technologies such as hydroponics and all this stuff. Did they do that? No, they didn't do any of that. So they were preparing black people to take over the land, setting up investment banks for funding the land. Now Julius Malema is talking about some of that, but you've got to smell a rat because he stole, well apparently, you can't say he did, stole the land, the money for these investment banks for the community so small businesses could get money. Now, anyway, this is what I'm talking about this for, is because the same thing that's happened in Zimbabwe is going to happen here now. Subsistence farming is what most black people are used to. That's a couple of goats, sheep, cattle, and maybe 10 chickens or something, and they have a field that they plough and they grow a few pieces of maize meal, cabbages, maybe, who knows, tomatoes, right? Just let's say, I don't know exactly, right? But this is the average. This is what I call subsistence farming. That's like me owning a small allotment, grow my own vegetables. Once a year I get a batch of vegetables and live off them. And that's how that's called subsistence farming. Now the industrial farmers are producing the food for the land. Now, you've got people who think that the food suddenly appears in the shops and they don't know it's the farmers that are actually producing it. They call them evil and greedy farmers. How could they be evil and greedy? They're producing food for the people. And they were saying that the white people are holding the food chain back. Have they not realised that that's the guy for the BLF, have they not realised that, guess what? The land has been suffering a drought. No water, which we need to feed plants. Right? They don't just get photosynthesis alone, they need water, they need sun, and they need good arable ground and soil. Okay? That means that it's got to have loads of nitration in it so the plants can grow. Now, I work in an industry, landscape gardening, right? So we know a tiny bit about plants, right? I'm not saying I'm a farmer, because their knowledge is obviously greater, but I've got a basic grasp of the science about growing things. Now, if that's the case, most of these people who are doing subsistence farming, give us a land, we feel impoverished. What they're going to do with their small, they're going to feed their families, and then what's going to happen is, if the white farmers leave, they're going to have no educated people on how to do the land. They've got no investment in towards the land, even if they expropriated every single bit of land. And then you've got the people who will contest this expropriation without competition. And I've looked into the bill. I actually got a copy of the bill, and it says basically it doesn't expropriation is not defined in it. What that means is they can go after your bank accounts, they can go after your money, they can go after your car, they can pick up your phone and say it's in public's interest that we're going to expropriate that phone, and there's nothing you can say about it. So that means that no land rights are applied then. Julius Malema wants to nationalise all the land. Now, in a utopian sense, sort of like, you want to have create this dystopian society where everybody's got everything, everybody's equally poor and equally miserable, because that's what communism and socialism really brings at the end of the day. Well, it's sort of half and half in Britain, to be honest. It's a house of two evils, as I would say. And the Conservatives hold it back. Basically, the Socialists spend all the money within 5-10 years, and the country's just about broke. The Conservatives come in, fix the house, fix the roof, and then the people are so angry because of all the trouble they've had to go through, put the Socialists back in, and then they break the house again. It's like a vicious circle. Instead of like having proper economic sense, and the Conservatives are no nice people either. The Tories, as we call them, they're not true Conservatives. This is what people don't understand. Tories and Conservatives are not the same thing. The word Tory comes to the Irish dictionary, which means robber. So if see another junk man, another man's treasure. Oh my God! Somebody's chucked out stuff that's worth money. See, this is what happens. See, I'm driving along the street, and I'm seeing things that are worth money. Whereas if you get the average person in Britain, they just see it's junk. So it's all about mentality. Anyway, I'm about to come to the end of my journey. I'm about to go to do some work for a client. So I want to get people to understand that this expropriation stuff isn't good, because it's going to cause the country to fail, and people are going to die of poverty and economic disarray. Now, I said this in 2016 when I was there, and it wasn't a Bible prophecy or anything like that. It was based on purely economic and political factors, and what I've seen the people were like, they were becoming so disenfranchised with this guy called, it was after Nelson Mandela, who had Jacob Zuma, and he was basically robbing the people of their money. There was scandals and all that was involved, and he basically stole a lot of money, and the people were protesting. I was there when this was going on. There was protests in the street, the universities in Cape Town. They were sick of Jacob Zuma, and basically he doesn't care about the people. He just wanted what he wanted, and this is what happened. Nelson Mandela was the only leader that actually really gave a stuff about the people. If Nelson Mandela was here today, I'm telling you right now, he'd be angry with all of them. In fact, even when he stood down from his post as president of South Africa, he actually occasionally made comment to some of the things that were going on. So Nelson Mandela was correct. He wanted the best things, and he was a good man, despite his original standing with terrorism and all that stuff. But later on, obviously, he's seen the light, he's got a bit more maturity about him, sees properly. Freedom can never be gained through the barrel of a gun necessarily. It has to be done through diplomacy. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have weapons to arm yourself, because right now, the government's disarming the people, and if that happens, then they've got no ability to defend themselves. They're only allowed 10 rounds or something like that. Now, you're not going to be able to hold in a fight long with that if they're taking your land or coming to murder you. So basically, we're looking at the genocide of white people just because they've been told lies that are not true. The average black person does not even understand their own history, and they have been fed this diet of lies. So I'm going to have to say goodbye. It's my first thing time speaking. I'll do a proper one when I'm not distracted and I don't sound so incoherent. But I'm going to come back to this and come back with proper pictures and information to explain. Have a nice day, people. God bless.